I'm just going to talk a little bit about the American Diabetes Association, what we do, and some of the tools that we have, and why we do what we do, and then just talk a little bit more personally about the bariatric surgery and how, how it's impacted some of our members, and just talk a little bit more specifically. And first of all, I like to start these kinds of talks by asking how many people know somebody who has diabetes. If you'll raise your hand. Okay, thank you. When I go to speaking engagements, usually the majority of people raise their hand, and I guarantee that somebody you care about, know, love, work with has diabetes, and you just don't know it. Because it's extremely prevalent now. I read this morning almost 30% of Americans are obese, not overweight, obese. So I'm going to read a few of the statistics about diabetes and about American Diabetes Association, and just see if you know some of these or you don't know some of them. First of all, our mission at the American Diabetes Association is to prevent and cure diabetes and to improve the lives of all people affected by diabetes, and we raise money. Obviously, we have walkathons and rides and galas and things like that. My husband calls me a professional beggar, and I wear that title proudly. A lot of you are probably professional beggars in your occupations as well. I don't know if you know this, but 26 million Americans have diabetes. That's about 8.3% of the population. And in Texas, it's about 10%, a little bit over 10% have diabetes. 1.9 million new cases of diabetes are diagnosed each year. 1.9 million. 79 million Americans have prediabetes. 1 in 3 children born in the year 2000 and after will develop diabetes in their lifetime. And if they are a minority child, their odds are even greater. It's 50% chance that they will develop diabetes. Nationwide, 18.8 million Americans have been diagnosed with diabetes, and that's more than 6%. 7 million don't even know that they have it yet. A lot of statistics, but basically, you know that we have an obesity epidemic, and we know that it's even higher here in Texas. Every year, diabetes causes more than 233,000 deaths, 12,000 to 24,000 new cases of blindness every year, 82,000 amputations. Diabetes costs the United States nearly $174 billion each year. 1 in every 10 healthcare dollars is spent on diabetes, and 1 in every 4 Medicare dollars is spent on diabetes. So, and when I talk about diabetes, I'm talking about type 1 diabetes or juvenile diabetes, type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, and gestational diabetes. Now, when we get up in a few minutes and we have our reception and we talk a little bit and visit a little bit, I have a lot of information back there on the table about what I'm talking about. A little bit more detail, just some generic information about diabetes, and also there's one document called Are You at Risk? And really, it's real simple. You go down, am I over the age of 45, under the age of 45? Yes, no, just to see if you're at risk. We encourage all of you, if you don't, talk to your doctor. If you're at risk for diabetes, talk to your doctor. Get a simple blood glucose test and see where you stand. You might be at risk for diabetes if you have a parent, brother, or sister who has diabetes. You're African American, Hispanic, Latino, Native American, Asian American, or Pacific Islander. You had a baby weighing more than 9 pounds, or you had gestational diabetes. You have high blood pressure. You have low HDL. You have high triglycerides. You may be able to delay or prevent type 2 diabetes with regular physical exercise or modest weight loss. And that's the biggest thing that I like to impart on people, is that it doesn't take a huge amount of weight loss to lower your chances of getting type 2 diabetes, just a modest amount of weight loss. The Diabetes Prevention Program study showed that 30 minutes a day of moderate physical exercise along with a 5 to 10% weight loss produced a 58% reduction in diabetes. So significant changes can come about just by simple changes in your life. And when I talked to Dr. Bassa about talking here today, You know, I know this is the first rule about speaking is not to tell your audience that you're nervous, but I was really nervous. So we'll get that over with. I was really, really nervous about coming today because it's not just, I mean, we speak a lot to people about diabetes and risk factors and what is type 1 and what is type 2 and how to lower your chances and are you at risk, but it's really personal to me, so I had a really hard time narrowing down what to say and how to present this. And also my computer crashed at home, I have to say. Yeah, everything's on it. So back up your computers. That's the lesson for the day, back up your computers. So here's my PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to just kind of pass this around while I'm talking. And the reason why it's so personal and important to me to speak here this morning is because I had gastric bypass surgery about 8.5 years ago, and I've lost 160 pounds. And it's real, and I'm passing around this picture. I weighed in that picture, about 310 pounds. And I had gestational diabetes when I was pregnant. And my dad has diabetes. Both my grandmothers have diabetes, and they passed away. I have aunts all over the place who had diabetes. So we had a lot of diabetes in my family. And I had gestational diabetes, and I had to take 4 shots of insulin a day. And I mean, when I found out I had gestational diabetes, I did not put a Tic Tac in my mouth. I weighed everything. I measured everything. I gained about 8 pounds when I was pregnant. But I was over 300 pounds, so I could, you know, that was a good thing. I wasn't, you know, starving a baby. I just wasn't making the baby sicker. So, so giving myself shots when I was pregnant, I had to, you know, those of you who have given yourselves any kind of shots, you know, you have to give them in your stomach or your leg or your arm with the insulin. So I'd lean against a door or, you know, give it in my stomach or my leg, and it's not fun to give yourself a shot, right? So just and I can't even remember what the total number of shots that I had to give myself, but I had a friend come in the office the other day and was telling me that his daughter was just diagnosed with diabetes, and he did the math. And she's in her mid-20s. And he said just for his daughter, if she had to give herself 4 shots a day for the next however many years until she is his age, that would be 67,000 shots. And she has type 1 diabetes, and that's just for her to stay alive. So diabetes is personal to me. It is a significant problem in the United States, and you are not predestined to have diabetes if your mom has it, or your dad has it, or you've got it in your family, and you know you can handle it, you just eat right, okay, so I have it, or it's not a life sentence. Just because somebody has it in your family doesn't mean you're going to get it. And if you develop type 2 diabetes, there are things that you can do to either delay the onset or to lower your chances of getting some of the complications of diabetes. The blindness, the amputations, the nerve damage that is so, so painful. It's a serious, serious epidemic in the United States that you all know about. And those of you who have gone through bariatric surgery, or you are considering bariatric surgery, it is one of the steps that you can take to decrease your chances of getting type 2 diabetes. The American Diabetes Association recently awarded researchers $1 million in funding to research the effects of bariatric surgery on people with type 2 diabetes. And I want to tell you this quote. We know that many bariatric surgery patients experience remission of type 2 diabetes within days of having surgery, like Dr. Brasa said, within days of having surgery before patients even begin to lose weight. So what you're doing not only increases your healthy living, your lifestyle, but it also decreases your chances of a lot of these complications if you happen to develop type 2 diabetes. So I just want to share a little bit about my story and some of the things that I do to affect lifelong weight management in my life. Everybody, I'm guessing, just making an assumption, but those of you who have had bariatric surgery, there was some kind of catalyst to make you go, I got to do something. You know, I've tried Weight Watchers, I've tried Fin, I tried Jenny Craig, I tried everything. I've gone to Gold's Gym. I got to do something, and I got to do it now. And in trying to identify what the catalyst was in my life, you know, I can pinpoint a few things that kind of led me down this path of, you know, I didn't wake up and weigh 350 pounds. You know, this happened over many, many years. So I had to take a good hard look at some of the things that went on in my life to make me develop bad habits and to make me foster these bad habits over and over and over, even though I was getting unhealthier and unhealthier and unhealthier. You really have to take a big, this is why this talk was so hard for me, is because you know what I'm talking about. If you've had this surgery, you're looking at it. You have to look at your behavior and your habits and your lifestyle. And you have to say, what am I going to do to take responsibility, like Dr. Bossa said. I've got to take responsibility. And one of the catalysts for me, my daughter at that time was almost 2. She's 10 years old now, 10 and a half. God help me, she just went into puberty. So you know what I'm talking about, those of you who have, you know, daughters that age. So I'm getting everything that I deserve. So when she was about almost 2 years old, she was, you know, running all over the place. And I was having a really hard time keeping up with her. And those of you who have gone through this, you know what I'm talking about. I was so hot all the time, hot and sweaty all the time, tired all the time. I don't have any energy. I'm chasing this little baby around. Now, luckily, obviously, she doesn't have any memory of that, but I do. And she needed, you know, a yard to play in. She needs to swim at the swimming pool. It's, you know, humiliating to go to a swimming pool when you're 300 pounds. But what's more important, you know, my pride or getting my kid in a swimming pool and keeping her active, you know? So you swallow your pride a lot of times and you do it. So one of the catalysts for me was looking at this baby and thinking, I am not going to be alive to see her even graduate from high school. And I want to be. I'm already an older mother, and I was 36 when I had her, 37. So I'm older already, and I don't want to risk it by, you know, continuing. Plus, I'm tired. I'm just damn tired all the time, and I wanted to stop that. So that was one of the catalysts for me, was just looking at her and thinking, I really do want to be alive when she is, you know, in high school. So that was one of the catalysts for me. And also looking at my family history, thinking every woman in my life either has diabetes or has passed away from diabetes. So I will repeat that history. Once you have gestational diabetes, you have a 60 to 80% greater chance of developing type 2. So I'm already at great risk for getting type 2 diabetes. So being heavy just increased my, my chances. You know, I wanted to just be normal. I didn't want it, I didn't have, you know, thoughts of grandeur. I wasn't going to be a supermodel walking down the, you know, red carpet. I just wanted to be normal. I wanted to go into a store. I wanted to buy clothes off the rack. I just wanted to be, I wanted to sit in an airplane and not have to ask for an extension. I didn't want to, you know, go over into somebody else's seat in the airplane or in the aisle, you know, when they push the cart and hit your elbow. And, you know, those of you who've done this already know exactly what I'm talking about. All the things that, I was talking to Dr. Bossa the other day, things that people take for granted who are a normal weight or even a little bit overweight. You don't think about this, but those of us who are extremely overweight, I remember the first time that I tied my shoe and the bow was on the front in the middle instead of being on the side, because I couldn't bend down like this. I had to, you know, tie it on the side. So my bows were always on the side. I remember the first time that I was able to cross my legs. Wow, that was big. I remember the first time I could cross my arms in front of my body. That was huge. So a lot of big things that happen in your life when you have bariatric surgery and you go over to the other side and you're able to experience these things that people take for granted all the time. I remember when I first started getting cold, I thought, praise the Lord, I'm feeling cold and it feels great. I never ever complain about being cold, ever, because I know what it's like to be hot all the time, even when it's freezing cold, or to get out of the shower and be sweaty by the time you dry off. You know, that doesn't even make any sense, but those of you who have been there know what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to feel normal. I wanted to have stamina. I wanted to have credibility in my job. I don't want to get in front of people and talk about how important it is to eat healthy and for them to be, and I know they're thinking, well, sister, you need to push back a little bit because I'm watching you eat your chocolate pie and getting another piece of it. And, you know, so you have more credibility in your job when you look professional and you have more confidence and people can see that, you know. I have confidence in church to sing. I used to sing in the worship team, and I'd have confidence to do that. Whereas when I was big, I wanted to do that. And whatever your religion, if you sing in church or wherever, and you don't have the confidence, it's hard to worship when you're feeling ugly, and I don't mean just physically. So I'm looking at the testimonial questions that Dr. Basa's staff sent, and one of the wow moments for me was when I remember when I was really, really, really heavy. And I would talk to people, and I'd feel sometimes that they weren't, even when I was either talking to them or just saw them in a store, I feel like people would just kind of look through me. Like they weren't looking at me. And those of you who've done this, you know what I'm talking about. They don't make eye contact with you. I feel like sometimes I was invisible. Like people would just kind of walk by me. But I remember when I started feeling like people were making eye contact with me. And that was very, very significant. And it's my hope that no matter what your circumstance in this room, whether you've had surgery or you're working with Dr. Basa and all the other things that she does in her office, or whether you're just, hey, I'm not feeling my best, whatever it takes to feel your best, I hope that you have that catalyst in your life somewhere. Or if you don't have it, find it, because that's part of responsibility, I think, and motivation. Sometimes you got to find it. You certainly cannot rely on other people to give you motivation or to make you all of a sudden responsible. But you have to find it within yourself. One of the questions, has there been anyone who did not recognize you after your weight loss? That's a big bonus. And I've had friends in college or ex-boyfriends who see you, even if they see you in person or on Facebook, and they go, wow, you look really great. And you're thinking in your head, if you only knew. And I avoided college reunions for so many years, and now I am the first one there, I'm telling you. And that part is a great, great feeling, because you know you've worked your butt off to get where you are. And you are proud, and you have confidence, and you have motivation, and people look at you and they're like, man, what is going on in you? And that feels good. That feels really good. So a lot of people who knew me when I was really heavy didn't recognize me or don't recognize me. And that's kind of fun, because you can also be a little bit invisible and spy on people, you know, when they don't know you're looking. So that's fun. If I want to impart any kind of information with you today, when Dr. Boss and I were talking the other day, just about long-term, lifelong weight management, and what do I think, what's helped me personally, and as a member of the American Diabetes Association staff, what would I say? I would say for lifelong success, first of all, you got to really get educated. You got to learn, you know, it's one thing to have surgery and you lose weight, especially at the very beginning. You lose weight. You lose a lot of weight in the very beginning. But I would encourage you to use that time, especially in the very beginning. I told her one of the weirdest things for me to get used to was not snacking. Because at the very beginning, right after surgery, you can't. You just can't. It's all liquid for however many. I had mine several years ago, but the first week, I did not know what to do with myself. There was so much time. I couldn't go to work, so I was at home doing, you know, I thought, what do I do? I'm reading magazines. I thought, how many times a day, if I were home, would I get up and go to the fridge or eat a Ritz or get some milk or have a Coke or even drink water? You know, you can't drink a lot of water at the very beginning. So changing of habits is huge. Figuring out something to do with your hands is huge. Learn to cross stitch, learn to knit, play basketball, you know, go walking a lot. Something that keeps you busy, that takes the place of the eating. Huge, huge tip. One thing I think is really important is to get to the bottom of why we were there in the first place. If we really want to change our habit, that's one of those really hard things when you're looking in the mirror. It's not pleasant, but why were we there? I think it's really important to figure out why we were there in the first place so that we don't go back down that path. So find out why we were there, get some help, get some accountability, figure that out. Change your habits, learn new things to keep you busy. Exercise, huge, huge. Exercise is not fun. I'm with you. I hate exercise. I hate core exercises. Hate them. But I'm telling you, nothing makes you feel better than when you, and gives you more stamina than when you're strong right here. It really is the truth. And just walking. Find a partner. There are a couple of documents back there that I would encourage you to look at, take home. And I love the American Diabetes Association diet or weight plan or whatever, and really it's just kind of a I'm going to open this up. This document right here is called Create Your Plate, and this is not, we're not selling anything here, but this is, I'm just showing you what a healthy plate should look like, and this is really what I've done. And I'm telling you, I'm a good Southern cook. I love butter, I love chocolate, I love cream cheese, I love Paula Deen, and I'm telling you. And I'll be honest, I haven't changed that. That part, I haven't changed what I love. What I have changed is that I make a lot of stuff and give away. I take a lot of stuff to potlucks. I take stuff to work. I take stuff to my neighbors. I don't cook pies all the time, but I love cooking pies, I will say. But this is how we eat. Our whole family has changed because, you know, we got 3 kids. And I don't want my daughter to go down the path that I went to and wake up one day when she's 300 and some odd pounds and go, ooh, what do I do now? I want her to start like this. Even if it's not pleasant to have half your plate be green, you know, and I tell her brown is not a color. If it's a anything, that's not, you know, that shouldn't be half your plate, you know. But take a look at this when you leave. Really, it's changing the habits of what you eat and how you eat. The other document that is my favorite that we share at health fairs and things, called Portion Distortion. This is what we're served here on your left. This is what we're served. On the right is really what is one serving. So just changing. Okay, so you're going to go get a burger or whatever, a Big Mac. I love Big Macs. So take a bun off the Big Mac, right? Cut it in half. I mean, it's not going to kill you to take off one of those buns. If you got 3 buns on a hamburger, that's one too many. So look at this document back there. Portion distortion. You know how big the servings are when you go into a restaurant. We don't need to eat that much. You know the tricks. Ask for a to-go plate when you get there. You know, so you know, just to sum it all up, I would encourage everyone here, take a risk factor test. They're back there to just see if you're at risk for developing diabetes. You don't want it, and if you have it, you want to change your habits. You don't want the complications that come along with diabetes. Change your habits. All of us can change all of us should make at least half of our plates colorful every time we eat. Exercise. Find a partner, an accountability partner, even if it's your dog, because your dog wants to go out every day. You know, get a dog there. So we want to change our habits, have great, healthy eating habits and exercise habits, and encourage your family around you to do the same thing. You know, we want to have a long, healthy life, all of us in here, and obviously you're here because you've made a difference or are supporting someone who's made a difference. So thank you so much for letting me come here, and I thank Cedar Park Regional Medical Center so much for all that they do with their bariatric team, and also just the executive team, the marketing team. Cedar Park Regional Medical Center is sponsoring a walkathon for American Diabetes Association in November 5th, and I put some of the brochures back there. And Jeremy Barclay, who is the Chief Operating Officer at Cedar Park Regional, is our walk chairman this year. And if you are not walking or want, a goal, November 5th is our walk. It's a 5K. We have a 2-mile and a 4-mile loop. I would love for you guys to come out. And there's no cost, there's no registration fee. Just come out, check out the brochure back there, become part of Cedar Park Regional Medical Center's team. And again, thank you so much for having me here, and good luck with your healthy life. Thank you.